Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to finish working on our 3.3, taking parts off. We're going to start with taking the tires, then we're going to take servos, electronic box, motor, the rear bulkhead. Let's get going. Alright, first thing you're going to want to do, get yourself a ratchet, or some of these trucks come with a wrench. 17 millimeter, slips inside here, and we'll get these wheels taken off. Alright, now that we've got that taken off, let's go ahead and get the receiver box removed. First thing we got to do is we got to take the top off. Make sure we don't have any wires going to our servos inside there still. Pull all those out. Go ahead and you can set this lid back on. It's no longer connected to anything. You're covered. Put the body clip back in. These are important. You lose these a lot. Alright, now to take this box off, there's a clip right here. Holds the fuel tank and this box on. Then we flip it over. And there's two 2.5 millimeter screws right there. I lied. There's one more screw right here. That's the downside to these getting neglected. You have a hard time finding stuff covered in dirt, but it should just slide off. Now we got another screw right here that should be a 2 millimeter. Take the fuel tank off since we're right here. You go ahead and pull your fuel line off your fuel tank. Set this aside. It should just be 4 2 millimeter screws on each servo, and then you can disconnect your link right there, and those should be a 2 millimeter screw as well. Alright, now that both steering servos have been removed, we're going to go ahead and remove this air filter real quick, get it out of the way, and take the throttle servo off. To get the air filter off, you just grab this pin, pull it out, a giant body clip, roll that, and I just roll it off to the side like that, and set it over here. Now to get the engine off, you got 4 screws, 2 on this side, 2 on this side. We'll take the spring off to disconnect the header and disconnect your throttle linkage right there. And then to get the header off, or the exhaust, there's a small set screw that sets on a pin right there. We'll get in from the back. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, now that we've got our motor removed, let's go ahead and remove our shocks. It should be 2 2.5 millimeter screws up here in the front, and 2 2 millimeter screws right back here. Alright, now that we got those out of the way, let's go ahead and we'll take the rear body mount off. We got 3 screws, which are kind of hard to see. There's one here, and one here. We'll go ahead and get those off, and then we'll flip it over and we'll start taking the rear bulkhead and A-arm assembly off, and the motor mount and these other little things, and we'll start cleaning stuff up. Alright, now that we've got those 3 screws out, this thing should just slide kind of off the rear. It might give you a little bit of struggle. The oil mixed with the dirt kind of makes it stick a little bit, so you kind of might have to wiggle it, but otherwise it comes off pretty easy. Alright, now that we've got that done though, we can flip it over. We can finish taking this bulkhead and everything off the bottom. We'll go ahead and we'll start with everything forward and just work our way back. There's 2 2 millimeter screws right here. They're for the shock mounts up front. 2 2.5 millimeter screws right here. That's for your throttle servo mount. Now we've got 2 2.5 millimeter screws here going into the bulkhead for the motor mount, and there should be 4, and a chassis brace. That's gone, so we're going to get new ones of those. Now to remove this motor mount, it makes it easier if you got it in 2 pieces. There's a screw right here and a screw right here that goes through, and then this piece will come out, and these pieces are separate, and that'll make it a little easier to get it out. Set those aside. You pull your center section out. Pull these pieces out. There's your motor mount. Now all we got left is take these 3 clips off, and this piece here, and this piece is your rear shock mount. It's just 2 2 millimeter screws. and that pops off the bottom, or I guess the top. And then the rest of these are just little pinch tabs. If you want it, you can use pliers. Just push on them with your fingers, push on them with this. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do that, as long as you're not breaking it. Alright, now that we got everything taken off the chassis, we're left with the rear bulkhead assembly, the A-arms. We'll go ahead and we'll start taking that apart. We'll take the bottom skid plate off. It'll be 4 2mm screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take your rear skid plate off. It should just lift up and back. Once you get the rear skid plate off, what we'll do is we'll come in here, we'll remove these 2 screws for the drive shafts. Once we get those removed, we'll go ahead and we'll remove these 2 screws. That'll let that rear plate come off, and then the 2 halves will separate. This rear plate, you just have to work it. Get that off. Set that aside. And your 2 halves come apart just like that. Your differential assembly. There you go. To remove your A-arms from your bulkhead, we'll just pull these pins out, and we'll take this screw out, go into the rocker. And we'll repeat on the other side. Now to get this rocker off, there's going to be one 2.5mm screw underneath here, and it rides on top of the shaft. There's bearings and stuff. If this shaft comes out with your rocker assembly, you can just go ahead and get an 8mm wrench or a socket. You can stick on there, and we'll be able to break this loose, hopefully. Alright, now that we got this half disassembled, we'll just go ahead and repeat the stuff on this side. Alright, now that we got both our A-arms assembly off of the bulkhead, we'll go ahead and we'll disassemble these. We'll start with taking this screw out. We'll remove that. We'll remove the axle shaft from the hub carrier. Once you get these off, you'll want to put them back together. You could lose parts pretty easy. It's just a small pin that slides down in there. Then you'll take that set screw and just put it back in. You can set that aside. Once you get that piece off, this your axle should slide out fairly easy. To remove your A-arms from your hub carrier, you'll need a 5mm Allen wrench. You'll take these 2 plugs out. Alright, now once you get those out, there's a little ball socket in there that screws into your A-arm. And those are a little 2.5mm. You'll unscrew those. And remove your tow link bar. It's going to be a 2mm. And then that just slides out. Thanks for coming to the channel. Hope I helped you out. If you got any suggestions, go ahead and drop them in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll get this all cleaned up, and next week we'll show you how to put it back together.